Hello, my treasured viewers and listeners. It's always a great pleasure on my part, as you already know, to welcome you to our session of English language classes. Remember that the channel is Alfonso the Rothschild's Tutorials, and the vision behind this channel is to keep helping all of us have a better grasp, a better grip of our English language for domestic, industrial, and for economic and marketing or commercial purposes, and so on and so forth. It is true that practice makes perfect. It is an age-old adage that what you do all the time, you get better at. And so, if you cease your learning of the English language, you will also cease from making progress in the understanding, in the mastery, and in the usage of this all-important language. Starting from our immediate previous video, we have reverted our attention from studying the grammar of the language to applying that grammar to tackling questions that face us in examination. And the examination that we have in mind now is the IELTS examination. In case you are joining us for the first time, IELTS stands for International English Language Text System. And the task before us today is an analysis of a statistical table. Our immediate previous video treated the first table in the row. Unfortunately, that video was interrupted by a technical glitch, but that was towards its tail end. So you will still not lose much if you watch that video till just at the last sentence of its conclusion when a technical glitch interrupted it. I apologize for that. It was not foreseen. Alright, today we take a look at the table before us. Like I have already remarked, if you watch our immediate previous video on statistical table analysis, you'll be able to follow my explanation on this. But even without having watched that video, I'd like to begin by pointing out that a statistical table, just like other models or tools for economic analysis, helps us to arrive at the information that we need, or to grasp the information that we need at a glance, where the information has been summarized, giving us only the main point or the main features where unnecessary details are not applicable, or where unnecessary details are not really needed. So a table like this is called a statistical table. Statistics means data or information that exists in the form of figures. It means to reduce information of any nature or data of any nature to numbers. It is called statistics. So a table that presents economic values, economic variables like the ones that we see here, reduced to numbers, is an example of a statistical table. In the IELTS Task 1 writing, the examiner expects the student to, within 20 minutes, give a report of the analysis of a table such as the one that we have before us. In other words, the exam regulation allows the candidate 20 minutes to study an economic model like the one we have here and to give a report of it in writing, a report of his or her analysis in writing. This must appear to you to be a daunting task. And my answer is yes, it is, especially if you do not know the rudiments, if you've not done the groundwork that is involved. Now I'd like you to listen attentively. It is an hour examination involving task 1 and 2 writing. The task 1 features an economic model like the statistical table that we have here, or a pictogram, a statistical map, a bar chart, a pie chart, or a histogram, and sometimes a map reading and analysis. And you are to tackle that question in 20 minutes, possibly leaving you with 40 minutes to tackle the task 2, which is on essay writing. Because essay writing is more difficult. You have to generate your own ideas, do this brainstorming within 40 minutes, and present your essay in an orderly manner. But with task 1, the model is already presented. Your task is to study it and then present your report in writing. The word count for IS tax 1 writing is 150 words. Now, word count refers to the least number of words to be written, not the limit. The least. What this implies is that the candidate is required to write above 150 words, but not below it. So, invariably, most of such reports that you find in the IELTS website written by previous candidates of the examination and their lecturers contain between 170 and 190 words. So that point is clear. Now we focus what we have today. But as a part of this focusing on what we have today, I also need to remind you, like I said in the previous video, that 1, this kind of report involves only the main items, the main features, not everything. So it is a kind of summary. It begins with an intro. The introduction recaptures the caption or the title of the table. For instance, this one says, the table above shows the number of full-time students from India who studied at various universities in the UK in 2020/21 and 2021/22. You are to paraphrase this, such a heading as your first paragraph. That is the intro. The intro should give all the relevant information. Then after the intro, there is a second paragraph called the overview, where the candidate is to state what he or she is able to observe from the table at a glance, without quoting figures. You should be able to indicate which values are rising, which values are falling. In other words, what are the highs and the lows you are able to discover from the table. That should be the second paragraph. The highs and the lows, and possibly any intermediate. That second paragraph, called the overview, is followed by a third. The third paragraph and then the fourth are called the body. Sometimes there is a fifth paragraph, though this is rare. If there is a fifth paragraph, then the second paragraph and the third become the body, that's the overview, and the third become the body. And the fourth paragraph, the last one, is the conclusion, where any information in terms of the analysis that are not presented in the third paragraph can be put in the fourth paragraph as a part of the conclusion. Now, let us take a look at the table. Title: Full-time students from India. The first column gives us the names of the universities. The second column, the year, first academic session, 2020/21. Second column, second academic session, 2021/22. And third column, change. Fourth column, here, percentage increase. The table gives us the list of the number of students from India who studied at various universities in the UK in 2 academic sessions, 2020/21 and 2021/22. And then the change in the number of enrollment in those 2 years. Very simply, if you deduct the change that we have, in a particular year from the number of enrollments in the first academic session, you will be able to get the number of students that were actually enrolled. Just by way of an example, if you say 1,530 plus 805, you get 2,354, which is the figure for Indian enrollment into the University of Sheffield, UK, in the period 2021/22. The same applies if you deduct 1,640 from 3,505. That will give you the number of students which were enrolled or who were enrolled into BPP University in the UK in the period 2021/22. So what we have here is the number, the change, the actual number that was added to the original. So 1,640 plus 3,505 will give us the number of students of India origin in BPP University in the 2021/2022 session. Now, let us take a further analysis, a more detailed analysis of the table. The table indicates that Sheffield University at 185.7% had the highest number of Indian students enrolled into it in the period we are studying. It was an increase, a jump from a mere 815 to 2,345. An increase of, or a change of 1,530. That is the highest in the period we are studying. However, the BPP University at 46.8% had the lowest enrollment of Indian students into it. It was a change of 1,640, bringing 3,505 505 to 5,145 students. Within the period we are talking about, however, in 2020/21 session, the BPP University topped the list of Indian enrollments. It was the highest. But in the second academic year, 2021 to 22, Coventry University took that position. Its Indian enrollment rising from 2,390 to 5,290. As we go down, we discover that the percentage increase was highest in Sheffield University, followed closely by Coventry University at 187.7% increase. Sheffield University topped the list, followed by Coventry University at 121.3%. Of course, as we go down, we discover that besides these two major jumps, the other university that attracts our attention is Leicester. Leicester University at 105.4% comes third, with a jump from 1,175 students. So that is the 2020/21 session. So 2,390 in the 2021/22 academic session. Besides these three, the other universities, the percentage increase in the other universities were all below 100%. That is Greenwich University, 84.9, and Anglia-Ruskin University, 69.6, and BPP University, 46.8. Now that we have taken a close look at this, it is time to put our analysis in writing. In case you have a question to ask me, drop your question or comment on the comment section. It might be your observation or your question. If you want to reach me on WhatsApp, then drop me a note on WhatsApp using the number 091 333 01790. That is 091 333 01790. You can also send me an email at alfonso.therothschild@gmail.com. If you are enjoying what we are doing here, you can encourage us by liking this video and sharing it. You can also subscribe to this channel so that you'll be receiving our videos first time in your mailbox. And so now we turn to our routine analysis. This is the caption of the table, which we had already read, and then followed by source. The table is not mine. I didn't create it. I'm not the author of the table. It is taken from islist.com. islist.com. Then we have the prompt. The prompt tells us what to do. It says summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. The prompt tells us what to do. It says we should write a summary of our analysis of the table. That means it shouldn't be a conversation. It shouldn't be conversational. It should be a formal writing fitted for an academic purpose. then we should write a summary by doing what? Selecting and reporting only the main features. And then, where relevant, we should make comparisons. That is what we now want to do. To do so, we need to wipe this part of the board and start our report. This is the introduction to the report on this table, the report of our analysis on this table. It contains everything that such an intro should have. It says the table displays the number of full-time students of Indian origin who studied at various UK universities in the periods 2020/21 and 2021/22, and changes in their number and percentage increase. That is the intro. Now we can take the overview. We begin by saying us to continue, we will have to wipe the first part of the board where we have written the introduction. I would like to point out, in case you are a first timer here, that by convention, IELTS writings are done using the block paragraph, not the indented paragraph. So a line is often omitted to indicate the beginning of a new paragraph, and the sentences invariably begin at the edge of the margin. So the second paragraph says, overall, the greatest number of Indian students were enrolled into the Sheffield. The greatest number of Indian students were enrolled into the Sheffield University, while the BPP University, that's where we're continuing, it says, overall, the greatest number of Indian students were enrolled into the Sheffield University, while the BPP University had the lowest intake of Indian students in the period. And so it says, the other significant increases were in Coventry and Leicester universities. So this second paragraph, which you call the overview or the overall, tells us which values were rising and which values were falling within the 2 academic years that we're talking about. No figures have been quoted here, so the overview should not contain figures. But the third paragraph, which we're moving into, you can call it the analysis paragraph, should contain figures. We should use figures to back up whatever claim that we are making. And so, having finished with the overview, we now have the analysis paragraph, which is still going on. It says, at the beginning of the study period, Sheffield University had the lowest enrollment of 815, but this rose dramatically to 2,345 in 2021/22 at 187% increase, which was highest in the period. The BPP University at 1,640 increase, 46.8% increase. At 5,145 enrollment came next. So, we take a look at this third paragraph, which has come to an end. Continuing from here, it says the BPP University at 1,640 increment, that is a for 6% increase, or for 5,145 enrollment. Came next, that is next after Sheffield University. Also in the 2020-21 academic year, 2020-21 academic year, BPP University topped the list of enrollment at 3,505 students. The disposition was taken in the 2021-22 session by Coventry University with 5,290 students, that is 121.3% enrollment. Okay, that is really the end of our report. It says, from this point, that's our last paragraph, the fourth one, where we complete the analysis by bringing in the other figures just by way of conclusion that had not been given some preference. It says all the other universities stood at below 100% enrollment, except Leicester University, whose Indian students population rose to 2,390. That is a 103% increase in the 2021/22 academic section. If you have enjoyed our class today, there's something that you can do. Subscribe to this channel. This way you'll be encouraging us to give you more of this kind of videos. You can also share this video so that some other persons other than you and I, who are not privileged to be here today, can also benefit from it. You can like this video and get some of your friends to know about it. I invite you to join me on our next video, where we shall be taking a look at the IX graph. Still, tax 1 writing, this time will be featuring graphs, whether the single graph or multiple graphs, that is line graphs. So then, keep studying English and never relent from learning. Thank you.